turkey at the table. I once saw a movie with Betty Grable.
At a recreation of the first Thanksgiving, my father traded me for a bowl of mussels to a pilgrim with no teeth. It was a low point. Let me start at the beginning. Back in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue and discovered America. And then a couple hundred years later, a bunch of religious nuts traveled across the ocean to escape tyranny and live in Massachusetts in the dead of winter. Bitter and cold Massachusetts. They landed at Plymouth Rock, one of America's most disappointing national monuments. Did you know that it is rumored to have once been stolen by a bunch of teenagers in a pickup truck? Like the mascot of a rival school. A school whose mascot is an overgrown pet rock. One of those high schoolers might possibly have been a relative of mine, as for generations my family has lived on or traveled back to Cape Cod. Each summer, grandparents, cousins, great-uncles, aunts, and more meet up at the family compound about 30 miles south of Plymouth to celebrate clams, America, and wearing sweaters in July. So about 6 years ago, on a rainy summer day at the Cape, I was surfing the web and found out that the Pilgrim's marketing people had cooked up an idea to host a harvest dinner. For $63 a head, you get to eat dinner straight out of the year 1621 with the actors who play the Pilgrims at the plantation. All of the traditional recipes made with semi-contemporary ingredients. Yum! I talked my brothers, sisters, and parents into meeting back up at the Cape that year for a little R&R at Thanksgiving. And just like the original Brainiac Pilgrims, my family set foot on Plymouth Rock at one of the coldest days of the year. Our plan was to take a quick trip around the plantation, head to the Mayflower, not the real one, the fake one that's docked at the pier, and then attend the dinner, leaving just enough time to hit up McDonald's in case the harvest was a bust. We had been to the plantation many times before, but never at Thanksgiving and never in 20-degree snowy weather. I got a real understanding for how tough it must have been for the Pilgrims all those years ago, as I had stacked on 2 shirts, a sweater, a sweatshirt, my wool coat, a scarf, 2 pairs of gloves, and long underwear, and still could not prevent the snow and screaming wind from cutting through to my delicate, adverse to cold Texas skin. So when my mother ran up to me and said, "Oh, you have got to meet this guy. He is so charming and funny, and he is right up your alley, and he's in the cooking hut where it's warm," I did not hesitate. Many people have helped me achieve my consistently low dating relationship average, but none so much as my family. My father once gave my phone number out to some random guy at a Foot Locker because he liked the way he tied his shoes. My sister once tried to hook me up with her cable installer, who was also a kosher goat farmer in rural Kentucky. My brother has tried to set me up with one of his graduate school professors. No. And my sister-in-law has threatened on more than one occasion to sign me up for eHarmony. She said that she would handle the registration and the patented compatibility matching system profile for me, as I have never tested well. My mother, well, let's just say that her standards for me, her only unmarried child, have just slipped further and further each year. Lower than mine, which basically consists of have a job, have a passion, and you can attend the conventions, but I draw the line at wearing the costume. Needless to say, I was semi-worried. But it was warm inside, and I am weak. "Awesome," I said. And I followed her into one of those pilgrim houses. Through the haze of cooking smoke, I searched for a fellow tourist, perhaps one who had also bought into the unknown thrills of the harvest dinner. But the only guy I could see was a pilgrim, a guy playing a pilgrim. He was a Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow look-alike. Well, sort of a look-alike. Okay, he was more like a really gnarly Keith Richards. Dressed up as a Jack Sparrow, dressed up as a pilgrim. With no teeth. I took a step back. A really big step back. No teeth pilgrim smiled at me. Sort of. And said, "So, this is the unwed daughter you told me about. She's nice. Very healthy. Has a good set of birthing hips." "Aye, that she does," said a second pilgrim. "I reckon she'd be in high demand in the village." My family started laughing as I continued to stare at the greasy apparition of undefined age before me. Apparently, my mother's dating standards for me had slipped all the way down to the "I don't bathe and I need someone else to chew my meat for me" line. So while No Teeth Pilgrim did meet 2 of my 3 requirements, job and a passion for something, he utterly failed at the 3rd. I think this is the very definition of attending the convention and wearing the costume, right? But I am never one to miss out on a joke, so I dove right in. "Hey, so, how about that 30 Years' War?" I said. "That was something, huh?" And I tried to sashay my birthing hips in as seductive manner as possible. No Teeth laughed a deep, smelly pilgrim laugh and made several suggestive comments in Old English, something about the bride bed and getting me bare naked as quickly as possible. So I decided to show me birthing hips to the door. But alas, I could not get rid of him that easily. No. Later that night at the harvest feast, while we ate stewed pumpkin that smelled a lot like feet, the pilgrim actors wandered around and stole bread from the table. Guess who stole mine? Mr. No Teeth. While gumming the bread, he and my 2 biblical scholar brothers and my historian father got into a heated discussion about the religious scene in the 1600s, all while the pilgrim leered at me across the table. It was exactly as how I pictured this meal to go. The discussion lasted through much of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd courses until we hit the mussels. They stopped the conversation cold. That is how good those mussels were, and how bad the rest of the food was at that dinner. They were seethed in beer and butter, and there weren't that many of them, like 3 per person, which at a historical recreation of a feast where there wasn't much food to go around is, while historically accurate, just really a bummer. "Listen, No Teeth," my dad said. "What would it take to get an extra bowl of mussels around here?" No Teeth did not even hesitate. "Your daughter with the hips." I sat dumbfounded as this transaction occurred. I mean, was this what my life had come to? Being sold for a cheap plate of mussels, albeit really good mussels, to a really ugly Keith Richards, whose sole accomplishment seemed to be understanding the British royal lineage up to and including the year 1627? Yeah, this sounds about right. Let's do this thing, I said. And No Teeth retrieved the mussels, got down on one knee, handed them to me, and then went in for the kiss. in some kind of strange pilgrim ritual. I am fairly certain if we had been in the town hall, it would have counted as a legal marriage. And I would be living at Plymouth Plantation today, probably with about 20 pilgrim babies. And that realization snapped me out of it. See, I cannot do that. Now, I am not sure how much my dignity is worth, but it is worth more than a couple dozen no-teeth babies. I had to let the pilgrim down easy. I mean, this ship had sailed. It's just a good thing that it took the mussels with it.